Have you ever wondered why some people drain all your energy? Why, after certain encounters, you feel exhausted, small, incapable? Today I'm going to tell you a story that completely changed my perspective on relationships. And maybe it will change yours too. I met Thomas on an ordinary Saturday morning. I was walking through Central Gardens, carrying on my shoulders the invisible weight of someone who can't say no. My life was an endless cycle of answering calls that left me feeling bad, accepting invitations that made me question my worth, keeping close people who only showed up when they needed something. Thomas was over 70 years old and had been taking care of a public garden for decades. While I sat on a bench, trying to gather courage to respond to messages that made me anxious just by seeing the notification, I noticed he was pruning an old oak tree. Not just any pruning. He was removing entire branches, some still green, with a determination that intrigued me. "Doesn't it hurt the tree?" I asked, without thinking much. My voice came out loaded with something deeper than simple curiosity. It was as if I were talking about myself. Thomas stopped, wiped the sweat from his forehead, and smiled. "Come here, young man. Let me show you something." He led me to the tree and pointed to the branches he had cut. "See these? They look alive, but they're actually diseased. They suck the nutrients from the entire tree. And these others?" He showed me dry branches. "They're already dead, but the tree still wastes energy trying to save them." I stood in silence, watching. Thomas continued, "If I don't prune, you know what happens. The entire tree gets sick. It stops growing. New leaves don't sprout. Fruits don't appear. And in the end, it dies from the inside, even though it looks alive on the outside." Those words hit me like a punch in the stomach. I was that tree. I had so many people in my life who left me like this. The friend who only reached out to complain, but never had time when I needed her. The family member who always had a negative comment about my achievements. The colleague who made jokes about my appearance and said it was just kidding. People who didn't support me, who didn't root for me, but whom I kept around out of fear. Fear of loneliness, fear of being called selfish, fear of hurting someone. "Why do you keep watering dead branches?" Thomas asked, as if reading my thoughts. People are like these trees. We have limited energy. When you spend everything trying to maintain sick relationships, there's nothing left for you to grow. If you're identifying with this story, subscribe to the channel now, because what comes next might change your life, just like it changed mine. I left the garden that day with a decision made. It wouldn't be easy, but it was necessary. I started small. I stopped responding to messages that made me feel guilty for having a life of my own. I declined an invitation to an event with people who always left me last in their priorities. I reduced contact with those who only spoke to me to criticize my choices. And you know what happened? The first few days, I felt terrible. Guilt consumed me. What if they need me? What if I'm the problem? What if I end up alone forever? These questions wouldn't let me sleep, but I continued, because every time doubt knocked, I remembered Thomas's garden. I remembered that oak tree that needed to lose branches to survive. A week later, something changed. I woke up and realized I didn't have the tightness in my chest when picking up my phone. I no longer had the constant anxiety of disappointing someone. I had space, mental space, emotional space, even physical space. And in that space, new things began to grow. I picked up a hobby I had abandoned. I started attending a course I always wanted to take but never had time for. I met people who were genuinely interested in me, not in what I could do for them. People who celebrated my victories and supported me in defeats. New leaves sprouting where before there were only dry branches. I returned to the garden 3 months later. Thomas was there, watering the plants. The oak tree he had pruned was different, full of bright green leaves, with small acorns beginning to grow. It was the most beautiful tree in the entire garden. "Did you come back to learn more?" he asked, with that smile I already knew. "I learned the lesson," I replied, "but I still have one doubt. What if I prune too much? What if I end up alone?" Thomas sat on the bench and made me sit beside him. "Young man, look around. See how many trees are in this garden? hundreds. But they're not all the same. Some grow better alone, others in groups. What matters isn't how many branches you have, but whether those branches are alive, whether they're bearing fruit, whether they're helping you grow toward the sun. He pointed to the pruned oak. This one had 20 diseased branches. I cut them all. Do you know how many healthy branches grew in their place? 12. Less than before, but each one strong, full of life. Sometimes, less is more. It's not about having many people in your life. It's about having the right people. Tears came without warning. It was everything I needed to hear. I wasn't being selfish. I was being wise. I wasn't abandoning anyone. I was saving myself. And in that process, I was creating space for real relationships, for people who deserve my energy and who reciprocated in equal measure. If you've made it this far and still haven't subscribed to the channel, do it now. Because this message needs to reach more people who are losing themselves, trying to save dead branches. Thomas stood up and handed me his pruning shears. They were heavy, old, but well cared for. I'm not going to give them to you as a gift, he said with a laugh. But I want you to feel the weight. Pruning hurts. It's an act of courage. You hold this tool knowing it's going to hurt, knowing it's going to be difficult, but you also know it's necessary. I held the shears and understood. Isolating toxic people from your life isn't cruelty. It's self-care. It's not selfishness. It's self-preservation. You're not responsible for carrying the weight of relationships that destroy you. It's not your obligation to suffer in silence so others feel comfortable. Today, when I look back, I see the difference clearly. I have fewer people in my life, but those who remained are real. They're people who make me grow, who root for me, who show up not only on good days, but especially on bad ones. My energy is no longer wasted trying to revive dead relationships. It's invested in me, in my dreams, in the people who truly matter. And the most incredible thing, when you stop accepting crumbs of affection, when you establish healthy boundaries, when you allow yourself to prune diseased branches, you discover something liberating. You deserve more. You always deserved more. And there's nothing wrong with demanding that more. Think about your life now. Who are the dead branches you're carrying? That friend who only calls when they need money? The family member who only knows how to criticize? The relationship that leaves you insecure and small? The person who makes you feel you're never enough? You don't need to do this alone, but you need to do it. Because every day you spend watering dead branches is one less day for you to flourish. It's one less day of peace. It's one less day of genuine growth. Start small. Identify a person or situation that drains your energy. Set a boundary. It can be something simple like not responding to messages immediately, or something bigger like having an honest conversation about how you feel. What matters is to start. Because trees don't prune themselves. They need a gardener brave enough to do what's necessary. And yes, it will hurt. There will be nights when you'll question whether you did the right thing. There will be moments of loneliness. But I guarantee you one thing. On the other side of that pain, there exists a version of you that's stronger, happier, more whole. A version that doesn't settle for less than they deserve. Thomas taught me that taking care of a garden is an act of love. And taking care of your own life, your relationships, your energy is too. You're not being cruel by walking away from those who hurt you. You're being wise. You're choosing to flourish instead of withering. So I ask you, are you going to continue carrying dead branches, or will you have the courage to prune? Will you continue sacrificing yourself for relationships that don't nourish you? Or will you give yourself the chance to grow? The choice has always been yours. It's always been in your hands. And if you're still afraid, remember, every strong tree has been pruned. Every beautiful garden has gone through the pain of transformation. You're not the exception. You just need to take the first step. Pick up the shears and have the courage to cut what needs to be cut. Now it's your turn. Your turn to flourish. Your turn to grow. Your turn to be the most beautiful tree in the garden. Subscribe to the channel. Leave your like and share this message with someone who needs to hear this today. Because sometimes, a simple story about a garden can change everything. The power to let go of the right people is in your hands. Use it with wisdom, use it with self-love, and watch your life transform.